Hey, are you ready? Welcome to the St. Michael Podcast. Hello there. How you doing? Welcome to episode 19 of the St. Michael Podcast, one man's attempt at business, family, and comedy. I am your humble and gracious host, Michael Aigbedion. Thank you again for joining me on episode 19. We always come a long way every time we get here, Every time we get to a new episode, even during these weird times, these crazy times that every time we make it to a new one, it's an accomplishment. And I love it, because recently, it seems like no one wants to. We're so tired of what we're going through that, we don't even want to say what it is. You want to say these crazy times, these weird times. You don't even want to say, coronavirus, COVID-19, stay at home, because, people are pretty tired of it all. Depends on what it is that you're getting. Whether it be the news or whether it be, the distancing, recommendations that you're tired of, or maybe you're tired of the mask. We know it's what you're tired of, but you're probably tired of something. But I'm not tired of you showing up. I'm so glad and I appreciate you, that you showed up on this one. It's a lot I could share with you. And if you are listening and you haven't, reviewed or said anything in the Apple Podcast store, please do. I really would appreciate that. So please don't forget to get to the Apple Podcast review and just hit either, a set of stars or leave a review, something positive to share, or it could be negative. You could be whatever you want, but your feedback is much appreciated. Thank you for doing that for me. If you already have, as you probably already know, with the Water Boys, we're getting ready to launch our products, and that is going pretty well. But there's a thing that I discovered, unfortunately, throughout this whole entire process, is that a lot of manufacturing and production is on backlog and on back order. A result of the whole stay-at-home orders is creating a lot of back orders and a lot of backlogs. It's okay. Some of the places where, I get some of my supplies online, like, spray triggers and, things like that, they're on back order. Some of them are, it's like, I guess, to be determined. And some of them are until to mid or end of May before they ship out. And, I'd even, like, with some stuff, I couldn't even order because they said that it's going to take an extra 3 weeks just to get stuff out. So I'm calling, certain manufacturers just to see, okay, if there's a way to pay a little bit extra to get it a little bit earlier, and I'm getting no answer. And I'm calling, I'm leaving a message. I sent an email, didn't get anything there, So I didn't end up ordering because I just feel like, if I'm not saying that customer service is taking a hit, because some of these manufacturers, I don't even know what the customer service was before. But now that I'm trying to patronize this manufacturer or this producer, for a certain product and bottles and things like that, it becomes where you don't hear from them. You don't know what's going on over there. So I would hate to send them my bread, my money, my guala, and then not get anything for another like 4 or 5 weeks and can't get in contact with them. So I can't order with those people, but everyone, Uline, everyone that has a place that you go for supplies, it's pretty much on back order. They're out of a lot of stuff, and it has a lot to do with what's going on in China and the trade, and that we're still in the trade war. If you haven't, remembered, so anything that's coming from China has been slowed, and it's an issue. You know, I know some people who, purchase masks, overseas, and some of their masks didn't come the way that they were supposed to. Very low quality. You know. It sounds like a Chinese move. No, not a Chinese move. Sound like how people say karate. It sounded like I was saying that. Low quality. I don't know if maybe that's terrible. But yeah, the product development. There will be there might be a few delays, but from what I'm getting, it's only on the small stuff. So on the bigger things, like the bigger kits and everything that I'm developing, those will be out. But I'm not creating a whole new thing in my business. I'm just adding on to what we're already doing. Another way I'm adding on is that I'm doing the research for our app development, and I've received 2 quotes so far that are very much different from each other. And if you're ever looking to create an app or understanding what the deal is behind developing an app, okay, there's 2 places you could go. One place is, it's a bunch of places you could go, but the places I went to Fiverr, first, right? Which could be a mistake because I haven't bought anything there, but basically Fiverr is like the Craigslist for, like I'll say design and online work, where you could get really nice designs, really cool flyers, videos, things like that for pennies on a dollar. So let's say I really want a flyer. Usually to get a flyer design custom done really well, you're probably looking at, $50 to $150, sometimes even more, depending on the complexity. But on Fiverr, you're looking at like $5, $10 to get someone to design your ad or to design your flyer or even your website. So I'm seeing that there's some app developers on Fiverr, and some of the ones that seem to get better reviews are the ones that are between like $900 and like $1,500 to get the entire app developed. And a lot of that comes because they get it developed. Like whoever you're paying is paying someone else, more likely in India, to do most of the work, that the developing and the design work, and then delivering it back to you. So kind of like being a liaison. So that's what's happening right now. So what I'm looking at there, you're looking at about $1,000. If I want to get a full working app, but then who knows if it's gonna work, and how great that app's gonna be. So there's a risk there, even though it's guaranteed by Fiverr. It's almost like you don't know how quality the work is gonna be, But then you have an actual quote local. So as you know, I'm broadcasting this podcast out of Dallas, Texas, and we have local app developers. And right now, our app developers local to Dallas are quoting anywhere between $5,000 and $7,500 to get a medium level app developed, and they will develop it to where what you see through the app is a lot of what you get through your website. So you have to do kind of both, and that's pretty important to know. So you're looking at $1,000 through Fiverr or $5,000 to $7,500 through a local developer, and they said, hey, if you know anybody else who's interested in app development, we'll make sure that everyone gets juicy discounts, So I doubt there's anybody ready who, I don't know their work yet. So that's partly that's kind of weird that I would try to get someone else to hop on to their platform to work with them. And I don't even know how they work yet, but, you know, that's still happening. I'm trying to, find somewhere in the middle. Maybe I can find someone who has good skill, but see, after you found something and you know what's going to work for you, and I'm talking about with the app development, that it makes it really difficult to, search anywhere else when you already kind of found where you want to kind of like start. It's kind of like getting a haircut. Once you get a haircut, let's say a good haircut, you don't need to look for a barber anymore. What's the use? You could try to make it. You could find someone who could do it even better, maybe even even better price. But when you found someone that you're willing to pay a decent price for, and they did the job well, then it makes it to where you don't really want to go anywhere else. But we're also open at the barber school. We opened there today, and that was a unique opening because 50% of the students came back first day. So that's kind of different than we're used to. And all the chairs are spaced out by 6 feet. All the students get, masks and gloves to wear and are updated with all the new sanitizing methods and frequencies. But, you should see some of them, they just don't want to wear the mask anymore. They're not going to wear it all day. That's how they feel. And that's kind of how it is. Like, what I'm not going to do is wear that mask all day. He's like, won't you wear that? What? Aren't you supposed to be wearing a mask? He's like, well, what I'm not going to do. That's what you're hearing a lot of, people who aren't going to wear those masks all day, because wearing those masks, it's a little bit annoying, bothers daily life. I wonder how it goes for models, like, I wonder if, I know it's probably not a thing, but it could be, where models don't want to wear masks because they don't want to block their face. I can imagine a model getting that upset and, not wanting to cover his face, or that conceited, I don't know if that's a thing, but, yeah. So, somebody recommended, okay, so we have two new events that are happening. One is with Park District, down, which is downtown Dallas. They are, pre-purchasing car washes for the residents. They do a resident appreciation every year, and they're gonna, pre-purchase about 50 car washes for the residents. It might be more, but that's what we're looking at right now, to be done for the following week. The second to last week of May is when we're doing that event. So that's great because things are kind of looking like they're getting back, but even though it isn't, so it's starting. You can see people wanting a little bit of normality, but it's just not all the way there yet, and business. We're finding new business. We're finding businesses in further addresses, so we're seeing people way outside of Dallas request for services, which is unique. We didn't see that before, but now we're seeing it. Oh yeah, I was talking about the school before, the barber school, but I think you get the point as far as, with everyone coming back, it's been good. But it's just the first day, so we'll see where that one, we'll see where that goes with the barber school. But like, yeah. So with the car wash, I'm seeing that there's people who are, ordering further out, and then some of the new business, are getting higher packages. And then someone recommended us to, it's a company, I got to check them out. So, I don't know if they're listening, anybody who's familiar with this company called Autoscope. And Autoscope, the architect for the Autoscope building wants to recommend us to provide mobile car washing and detailing services in their bays. Which is a unique idea, something that we've done before, where a company will, provide services like, wheel repair or servicing vehicles, oil changes or engine damage, anything like that. And, they'll provide our services as an extra incentive for their clients. And they will have like a wash bay there where we'll clean the vehicles, detail the vehicles, and do all that. And it's funny because, the person who recommended it, the architect, was, when we were talking, this was earlier today, he was telling me about how, like, what is it that y'all could do? He said there's something that y'all, because would you consider yourself an expert detailer? And for the first time, I was like, whoa, okay. I I realized that I've been trained all through with detailing, and that's with like McGuire's, and that's basically the main company that's like did consecutive trainings with English color as well, someone I've trained with. But when he asked me if I was an expert, I was like, yeah, I am an expert. How can I help? And he was telling me about this place called Autoscope, how we need to partner with them and talk with them about using their bays and how they want to use us. And I was talking about how to reach out, but he's like, what's that service that y'all provide? Is it it's like see something, I can't remember the name. I was like, you're talking about like compounding? He's like, no, it's not compounding. I was like, okay, yeah, because just compounding. There's clay bar. He's like, clay bar. That's exactly what it is, clay bar. And he said, the guy at Autoscope told me that if they don't know, if whoever you're working with doesn't know clay bar, then there's no talking to us. And that is true. That there's a secret clay bar society. I'm thinking about. I might even thought about like, is that even like worth creating like its own entity, like clay bar society? Because in detailing, especially high end detailing, when you're doing like really expensive vehicles, the way that or test what people know, and what their education level is by, do you know clay bar? That's one of the questions I ask when someone's saying they really know how to detail and they've been doing it for 15 years, 10, 15 years plus. I always ask, like, okay, are you familiar with clay bar? If they don't have any idea what clay bar is, they're not good. And just so you understand what clay bar is like, it feels like clay. It's very rubbery, and you can stretch it out almost like a melted eraser, I guess. And so imagine like not hard clay, I'm sorry, like a malleable clay, that you can move around. Like you have clay powder and you add water and you can kind of move it around. That's kind of how it is. And you spray the top of your vehicle, right? And you spray it, make it really wet, and then you rub that clay bar on top of your vehicle, and it removes all the topicals on your paint. So it makes your paint, after you use clay bar, it makes it feel like glass. Because if you feel your paint now, it's always rough. And that's from like tree sap, and that's from like bug dropping. I mean, that's from bugs or bird droppings, a bunch of stuff that you cannot see. But when you use clay bar, it removes it perfectly, and it makes your everything feel like glass. So, when he said that, like, oh yeah, clay bar, that's what it is. I'm like, that does separate the man from the boys when it comes to detailing. There are a lot of other things like orbital buffers. That's really important. If you don't know how to use that type of a buffer, then you're probably going to struggle. But if you know all those things, you're in a secret club. It's a very special club. So yeah, clay bar society. That's a unique spin. On everything. So I'm definitely gonna contact Autoscope and see where that one goes, because I'm in between contracts right now with Amazon and what's it, FedEx. And what they're doing is that they're sanitizing a lot of the interior cabins of their vehicles, the transport vehicles. So we're looking into doing that, but things are just a little bit slower making those deals happen because everyone, at least based on this whole stay-at-home order, no one's really like making any new moves. No one's really creating any real different opportunities because you got to kind of wait until things start to normalize a little bit. So far we've gone back, into opening a lot of the states, and that has, we're not out the dark yet. So we're still finding out what's happening there, so until things can kind of get a little bit normal, can like these newer contracts lock in. But that's just gonna happen. There's actually so there's a new scam going out. I'm not sure if it's a scam, but my gut told me this is a scam. It's a magazine scam. So someone came by the house a few days ago, right? 2 days ago, and they rang the doorbell, and I opened it, and it was the guy who's standing outside of our gate, and our gate's about, let's say, 10 feet from the door. So it's really like perfect distance for him to talk about what he needs to talk about. And I was like, he's like, "Hey, am I bothering you, sir?" I was like, "Nah, what's going on?" He said, "I saw that you had your garage door open, and the first thing I thought, there had to be a teacher living here." I said, "There had to be a teacher living here." He's like, "Yeah, there had to be a teacher living here, and assuming you're a teacher, so what I would like to do." So he started continuing. So I was just like, "Okay, I guess he thinks I'm a teacher." So then, he's talking about, his background and how he used to be a felon and how he used to, sell weed. And, one time he got caught with, two, 4 pounds of weed and 2 guns. And that's why he went to jail. And that, now that he's with this program that goes door to door, that this program is keeping him off the streets, and it's more for previous felons to, do something better with their time. I was like, okay, I'm interested. So what are you giving? And he's saying that when you subscribe to the magazines, that they have will, help support their causes and, what they do. And I was like, okay. And I'm paraphrasing because, he's at my front door for about 15 minutes sharing his story, going back and forth. And at this moment, I didn't have nothing to do. So I'm like, I'll listen. So he just telling me about all the weed he's selling and all this street stuff that he used to do. Seemed kind of proud of it, but then also seemed like he was trying to like, get over it, like as far as like move past it. But he brought up his past a lot. And he brought up Tony Robbins so much. He kept saying about, like Tony Robbins, you know what Tony Robbins says. And, Tony Robbins is a motivational speaker. If you don't already know, but he kept talking about Tony Robbins. And then at a certain point, he's like, yeah, so if you pay $219 today, we'll get the magazines out. So I was like, okay, so what kind of magazines? He said you get to choose from certain type of magazines, like People magazine, like this magazine. And he's doing all this from this like clipboard. I was like, okay. So if I signed up with you, like when will I start receiving the magazines? It said, well, the magazine will go out in about 2 weeks. So that's when they should start being delivered. I was like, okay, so $219 for that. He's like, yeah, but for yours, now I'm starting to talk to you a little bit more. You seem like you're more of like either a business consultant or some type of like business professional or something like that. I was like, oh, okay, well, I do business. He's like, oh, okay, that's something after talking to you a little bit didn't seem like a teacher anymore. I was like, oh, well, cool. Well, I do business. He's like, yeah, well, I would think that you'll be in this next scale, this $648. I was like, 600. That's like $648 a month. He's like, oh no, not a month. It's a one-time payment. I was like, okay, so I'll pay you $648 a month. Okay, and then, how do I know I'm gonna get the magazines? He said, oh well, they'll be delivered. I was like, I know, but how do I know? And he says, oh, we give you a receipt. I was like, oh, okay. But here's the biggest like give of the entire thing that had me like, as soon as I heard, I said no. So he says, you won't actually receive the magazines. Actually, what's going to happen is that when you prepay for this, it sends out magazines to underprivileged kids. I said, you gonna send out magazines to underprivileged kids? How do I know they're gonna get it? He says, like mine. He's like me. When I signed up, I sent it to 777 Preston this and this road, and I went to go sign up Mark Cuban. He sent his to this and this and that address, and I signed up your neighbor over here, Mary. I signed her up, and I sent her, sent it to this address. I was like, so you don't get any magazines? He says, no, you don't get any magazines. I said, so these kids or these underprivileged people get the magazines that I would pay for right now? I'll prepay for? He said, yes, sir. No. And he's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, no. And he's just like, all right. Then he closed the door. Or not closed the door, but he kind of like walked away. I said, all right. And then I kind of felt weird because my garage door was open. So I was like, is he going to get all upset because I told him no? But yeah, it seemed scammy to me. It just didn't seem like it was on the up and up. That's what it felt like, like I'm paying for magazines that I'm never going to get, and you're going to send it to an address with underprivileged kids. First off, how do those underprivileged kids even have addresses? Is this an orphanage or something? I don't even know what he was talking about. Didn't make any sense to me. But it was interesting to listen to what's happening out there. Also what's happening. Twitter. Jack Dorsey, the owner of Twitter, the CEO and founder, he's saying that most of his people can work from home indefinitely, for the rest of their lives. And he's the first company to come out and say it. But a lot of tech has been doing that. A lot of like Google and Facebook are having their employees work from home until the end of the year. And then next year they're going to reassess and see who to bring back. Are they essential for the office? So this is already going to change. This is already going to change how business is operating when you're telling people that they have the option to stay at home indefinitely and that you're not going to be using your prime or primo real estate like you used to, but that is that's an interesting take because honestly, why do you need to go to work if you're in tech? Cut down the commute. That's what I'm saying. Also, JCPenney, they are actually filing for or about to file for bankruptcy. They're waiting on like a $450 million loan. If they don't get it, they have to file for bankruptcy. I told my wife, I was like, hey, JCPenney, maybe file for bankruptcy. And she's like, didn't they already file for bankruptcy before? And I'm like, oh, I wonder if they did. But I know they sold off a big chunk of JCPenney. I'm not sure where that went, but that's what's happening with JCPenney right now. So they're kind of struggling. Then you have Sweet Tomatoes. Have you ever heard of Sweet Tomatoes? I think it's like a salad company. I've never been, but I've seen it. Sweet Tomatoes. Looks like Italian to me, but they actually closing the doors for good. And you will not see them opening their doors, but some of these places, so many places you never, it was a surprise that this whole pandemic things took them out. I was talking to one of my friends who is in the restaurant industry, and he's a chef and he owns his own restaurant. And he said that what's happening during this whole coronavirus situation is that a lot of restaurants are closing down. They're slow. Locations because you could blame it on COVID-19. He says that the easiest get out of jail free card by blaming COVID-19 for it, and that you get certain allowances through your bankruptcy if you close it during COVID-19. So you could kind of blame. So he's seeing this a lot in the restaurant industry where people are just closing up their restaurant and saying, oh man, based on this whole COVID-19 situation, we got to close. Tough times. But, really, it wasn't performing. They weren't busy enough. And now they have an easy excuse to give their employees And the easy thing to tell them, say, hey, do this whole COVID-19 thing. Hey, we got to close, you know? And it might not always be the case, that, it's COVID-19 that's shutting people down. A lot of times it's that the company wasn't doing well to begin with. And now they have an opportunity, an excuse to give their employees and to the public and say, hey, we're shutting it down. COVID-19 beat us. But really, it's yourself. You beat yourself, But and if you did beat yourself down, it's all good. You got to have a little gratitude. And gratitude in tough times like now is what protects your mental health. Let's just so you know that. Gratitude protects your mental health, just like, your immune system protects your body, your physical health. You want to make sure that you practice gratitude. That's the tool for resilience. That's what you need, and also for anybody trying to do something new. I'm okay. Look, I'm seeing people say you can start a new business during this whole COVID-19 situation. I don't think it's that easy because you need something called a DBA, which is doing business as, and I don't know how you're going to get that if your county office is closed, and how you're going to get certain things that the comptroller at your area is closed, where you're trying to like do sales and things like that. So hopefully they find solutions behind that so people can start businesses during these times, because a lot of places are closed. Yeah. And, I'd like for you to focus on the why behind what you do, versus the what and the how. And the reason I do this, the why behind why I do this podcast, is just to share an entrepreneur's journey into like doing something new and crazy, i.e. this podcast, or comedy, stand-up comedy, wherever that goes in the next few months, or tackling old things like the businesses and creating new businesses behind it. And that's exciting, and family, and how to balance it all. I want this to be the why of putting this out weekly, so you have a weekly log of what was happening, not only in my life, but then in the lives that I am related to, during these times, so not during these times. It's just why I do it. That's why I do it. I do it because I want to share something out for like my son to pick up one day, or for a cousin to pick up, when we don't have times to like talk like that, they could catch up and understand what's going on with me, and I can understand what's going on with them, and we can understand, how to navigate and build, and, throughout business and, and relationships and all that together. And that's what this podcast is for, so that mission will grow throughout the next few years as I continue doing this. But it's funny because I found the research to actually show, because I'm like, okay, what's going on with the whole podcast listening now that people aren't double tasking? And it shows that there is a drop. It's a 30% drop in podcast listening. So podcasts are taking a hit because people are not multitasking. People are not listening to you on their daily commute. People aren't listening to you, while they take care of a customer's job or a client's job anymore, or have you in the background. So you're, it's taking a, 30% hit. And then, to see that being done, I was like, oh, like that research being done. I was like, see, this is information I've been looking for. But, even better news with this whole thing. Well, I'm not sure if it's good news, but your boy's still flossing. I'm still flossing, but I'm starting to feel like a little achy ache in my tooth. And it's a little nerve wracking because, you got to go to the dentist. And I know some people who just opted out not going to the dentist, older people, and, they have missing teeth, their dentures are messed up or whatever it is. And now I have little toothache, and I'm like, it's starting to become a toothache, and I'm wondering if I should go to the dentist anytime soon. Probably will, though. But yeah, Spotify, they're gonna do. They're actually testing video podcasting to add to their network, which is gonna be bling, bling. It's gonna be a win. Video podcast. It's funny. I was like, why hasn't anyone jumped on that to put in video podcasting with with their network, or their platform? And now Spotify's gonna do it. So Spotify is going to get more of my money when it comes to their stocks. So Spotify is a good place to go to put your money down because they're really giving Apple a run for its money. Also, if you're interested in like stocks like that, because last time I mentioned stocks that really kind of piqued people's interest. A good stock right now is Peloton. Peloton's been going up, pretty strongly in this last few months. They've actually had their biggest and strongest quarter ever, with so many people signing up for that, and people wondering like why is it that the stock market is building and growing, but yet we're losing all these jobs, because right now we're at 33 million jobs lost, right? And during the Great Depression, they had 25% unemployment. And in this climate, we're looking at, 14 to 20% unemployment, And with that being said, why is it that the stock market has rebounded all its money that it lost all through this whole little pandemic? And the reason why is that you need to know that the stock market is not the economy. The stock market is not the economy. The way the stock market is that it's based on future earnings. So this whole pandemic situation to Wall Street seems like an opportunity to, okay, let me buy in now because the way it's going to perform when things start to get better, because everything's pretty much, again, on pause. So if you're wondering why the stock market is growing the way it's growing, is because it's about future earnings. It's the same way of thinking about any athlete that when, if they got injured or they, like hurt themselves, you're looking at what type of injury it is. And then you're saying, okay, they should be able to heal from that, in this long. And, we can still look towards that championship, So that's kind of how the whole stock market thing works. And I'm already putting more into Spotify, Peloton. I'm putting a lot into, Amazon, like I've already mentioned, Twilio, that did well. Other stocks that that you're interested in. I know Marriott is coming out with some earnings and all that, but that's all boring talk. That's all boring talk. If there is anything that you would like to talk to me about, or questions that you have for me, or things that you're interested in that you would like me to discuss or say on the Say Michael podcast, please just let me know. If you're not down to your regular, listening schedule anymore, let me know what you would like to hear, what you would like to, how you like to innovate on this podcast, because, we're in this together. But you listener, we really are in this together, and, I really appreciate you for listening. I thank you for being here. And this is going to be the wrap for episode 19. And let's have a good conversation with me and my wife. See you later. Peace out. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
You feeling all right?
I'm feeling okay. If I'm honest, I'm okay today.
Man, it's been a long week.
Yeah. It's been a long week.
I can see. Is it getting better?
It is. Slowly but surely, it's getting better.
This drink, this hint.
Yeah, it's good. I was telling my sister about it.
Oh, she's never had it?
Mm-mm.
So there's this drink called Hint. And I'm not sure if you can see it like that. It's called Hint, Hint, Hint. And to me, it's like the perfect water.
I like the name too.
Why? Because it's true to.
Yeah.
It reminds me of kind of like Honest Tea. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
The tea brand. And Hint, it has like it's water, but really, for real, they put a hint.
A hint of fruit.
Yeah, just a little bit, you know. And that was the problem I had with other fruit. No, it's fruit flavored waters. Is that they're just so sweet.
Right. This one's really good. I had the watermelon earlier.
What'd you think overall?
It was good.
Man, this is the best water I've had. You know?
Yeah, it's really good. I haven't tried a pineapple yet.
Yeah, I haven't tried it either. You want to try it? Or you want to wait?
I'll try it on camera.
Yeah, I want you to see what you think about it.
But this isn't an ad, right?
No.
That's good.
It's okay?
I actually like this better than a watermelon.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is this is a good one just because, you know, that's how I like my water.
That's how you like your water.
With a little hint
Oh my God.
of fruit. So yeah, back to you. You said it's been a long week. You're back to work, and
Yeah.
this is like your first week.
No.
No. I mean,
I don't know.
it's your second week back to work, but it's your first full week in the store, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you're in the store doing curbside before.
Right.
But now you've been kind of...
It's so weird. I don't know what's happening right now. It's too much.
Everything's weird. You know, that's how I start my conversations now.
Yeah.
Where people are like, hey, man, we need to catch up. We need to talk, man. How about like next week? I'm like, bro, this whole thing's weird, though.
Like,
yeah, I
are
was
we
like...
going to wear a mask? Are we going to sit like 6 feet away from each other? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so what is it like at work, you know?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, everybody has on a mask. And I'll see my clients, but I'm not sure if it's them.
Oh, I thought
because half of their face is covered. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, okay, do I wave? Like, what do I say? Like, are you so and so? Because I can't really tell who it is, you know. So that's like the weird part. And then it's we just had Mother's Day this past weekend, so it's extremely busy. And you know, you're ripping and running back and forth and you got your mask on and you're trying to communicate to clients what it is that they're looking for. And you're just out of breath. It's like hot in that mask. And man, you just feel like you're overweight. And
y'all have to change out the mask often?
Yeah, we change them out every 3 hours, and gloves. We wear gloves too. So we change those out every 3 hours, and we have to like wash our hands every hour, hand sanitize. We Lysol everything. We Clorox everything. Like, yeah.
Yeah, we just so you know, we got started today at the barber school. Everybody started, and pretty much it's kind of the same thing where we limited the amount of people that could come in.
Right.
But a lot of them were over the mask.
Really?
Yeah, like they're over wearing the mask, or you know, over everything really.
I'm over it too. Like, we're supposed to keep the mask over our nose. You know, it's supposed to cover this part of your face. I'm always walking around with it, like covering just my mouth, because I'm so tired of breathing in that hot air. I'm like, I need some fresh air, so I pull my mask down. And then we're supposed to keep our gloves on, and I take my gloves off at the end of the night. I'm just like, I'm just tired of it. I'm over it already.
Already?
Already. Yeah,
it's because, you know, I had a thought earlier. I was like, man, it's almost like, you know, wearing masks. It's almost like the new tattoos.
Yeah, that's true.
Because when you wear a mask, everyone looks, you know, kind of like what kind of mask you have, you know, is it good or whatever it is. But then also there's some people who don't have masks,
right,
who are looking at people who are wearing masks, and we're both judging each other. You know what I mean?
Well, I know for us, you can't come into the mall without a mask.
Okay.
So you have to have a mask just to enter the mall. And then if you want to shop in our store, you have to have a mask. If you don't, then we will give you a disposable mask. But it's funny because, you know, you stare at the mask and you're like, oh, your mask is so cute. They had this one guy, his mask was, it looked like he was smiling, like on his teeth. And there was like diamonds on each tooth. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And then they had this other girl, her whole mask was like just bedazzled. And I was like, oh, your mask is cute. And she's like, I make them and I sell them. I was like, oh, I need your number.
Wow. That's it. A lot of people getting creative with masks. I'm starting to see like actual brands like come with like, you know, machine built type masks, you know?
Yeah.
But that's what you're seeing. You're starting to see a lot of creativity.
Some really cool ones. And I mean, why not? You know, it's part of our fashion now. So you have to wear it. So why not make it look part of your outfit?
You know, it is part of the whole fashion thing.
Yeah.
So like, so does a mask define where you are fashion wise? You know what I mean? Like, does it
if you're
mean,
walking around with like a hospital disposable mask?
yeah, does that mean like
No.
you care little about your fashion?
No, I don't
okay.
think so.
You know the hospital mask. Look, okay, I must
I
admit,
like those. I use them. We use them all the time.
yeah, I use them too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm at Sam's, and I had my little disposable mask, and I'm starting to see people with like really highly engineered masks.
Like the construction worker mask.
No, not like those.
Okay.
Like the ones you see that people kind of sewed. You know, some have like a leather behind the ear looking strap and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there's very few. Some people had like a pink little tint on their mask, and it looked like
creative.
Yeah, and so I'm looking at them. I kind of felt cheap. I did kind of feel cheap.
You had the cheapest one in the store.
Yeah, I was like, maybe I should, like, you know, like it kind of pushes you, you know, just because everyone else is like has a stylish mask,
right?
And then you see the people who are like poor.
Oh my God.
Who don't? Because I don't care, and I'm pretty sure most people don't care like that. Yeah, but people
probably look at you like, look at him, he's poor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I felt. I felt like people look at me like, oh, look at this.
Look at that poor guy.
Look at this homeless guy straggling to the store, you know?
There was one lady who came in our store yesterday. She had on, I want to say it was a leather mask.
Like a Hannibal Lecter type?
No, like one of those ladies who do like the, what is it, SMN?
Oh, the...
Dominatrix type women.
Yeah.
She had one of those masks on. And
with the...
Yeah, it was just like it was
a
too
leather
much.
mask.
Yeah, but she was in the store with her daughter, and I was just like, "Do you even know what type of mask you have on?" She probably do.
Yeah, she probably does. Her daughter doesn't.
Her daughter doesn't. No, her daughter was like, I want to say maybe 12 or 13.
Man,
she probably does. Though.
Yeah, the
That's
daughter.
the sucky part.
Yeah, I know. She's probably not telling the mom. You know, I was watching, listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, right? Mm-hmm. And he was on there with Michael Yo.
Mm-hmm. Who's Michael Yo?
He's like this. He's like a E. I wouldn't call him a star. Maybe I guess he would be considered a star. But he's on E, and then he does stand up comedy as well.
Oh, the light skinned black guy.
Yeah, kind of.
You know
what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
he's black.
Kind of Asian.
Yeah, black and Asian.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So Asian-y black.
Asian-y black.
Yeah, and he's on there, but this is his first time like talking since he had coronavirus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but see, so Joe Rogan starts talking about how he had a friend who had coronavirus. It didn't happen that bad. He's like, oh, it wasn't bad for him. He's like, no, it was bad for me. He said he was in the hospital for 8 days.
See,
but listen, when he started breaking down the story, we started listening because this is my first listen.
Yeah.
Or even just hearing someone actively tell their kind of what happened.
Right.
You know, so he talked about his travel schedule was crazy. Mm-hmm. You know, he's going from one place to the other. You know, even a few days before he actually felt bad. You know, he flew in to go do something in New York. Then he flew into California. Then they went from California. They drove to Vegas to go see family. Then they drove back the same day. So he's just like tired. Then he, that was Tuesday. Mm-hmm. That he, so he flew back Monday, Tuesday. Or he's maybe Sunday or Monday, doesn't matter. Then Tuesday, that's when he went to Vegas, came back, and then on Wednesday he had a audition. Mm-hmm. Thursday another audition, and then like Friday another like audition.
Oh wow!
And all this like work or whatever, and then on Saturday he says something felt like weird, like he just felt like tired. Mm-hmm. But he looked and he said his temperature was 101. Oh
well, yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, maybe I should isolate myself. That's what he thought.
Yeah.
But then he said that what he learned is that he should stay at home because the doctors were saying, isolate, if you don't have severe symptoms, don't go to the hospital yet.
Right, just stay home. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's taking he's like kind of doing the whole Zoom or whatever conference calls with his doctor.
Yeah.
His doctor says, take Advil and take Tylenol,
Okay.
to lower your
fever.
Your fever.
Yeah.
So he's doing this for a few days. He says it's just getting worse. He's just like, he says at one moment it's like everything's heavy and he had this throbbing headache. Ooh. Just doom, 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 doom. And then he's like, he said that day where I had like my headache, like my head was throbbing. He said I was popping 3 Advils every 3 hours.
Ooh.
Yeah. He's like, I'm just taking it. He said, and then that next day, like he couldn't even like get up and he could not breathe.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's like he was struggling just to breathe, like just struggling to breathe and like could barely carry himself. And then they called the ambulance. So his wife called the ambulance. They picked him up, and he said it was like a whole scene that he just couldn't believe was actually happening to him.
Wow.
Because he was strapped to the chair. He could not move. He could not breathe very well.
Yeah.
Then he's like looking back, and he sees his son put his hand against the glass, crying. He doesn't even understand what's going on.
Right.
All the neighbors are out, kind of surrounded around the whole the ambulance or whatever.
Yeah.
They take him into the emergency room. And they said it started getting worse. He said his temperature went as high as like 103.8.
Wow.
Whew.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then, they said like he was just getting worse, and then, someone suggested they put him under a ventilator, and they said don't put him. He's like his doctor, who he attributes to saving his life, said do not put him on a ventilator. We don't care how bad it gets. We're not gonna put him on a ventilator, because I didn't know this. He said 80% of people they put on ventilators die.
Wow.
Yeah, and they said the reason why is that once you hook up somebody to a ventilator, it does all the breathing for them, 100%.
I see.
So the body has no will
Right.
to get stronger. Your bones and everything starts to deteriorate.
Yeah.
Because a machine's doing the breathing for you.
Right.
It kind of maybe to him kicks in why ventilators aren't good. So he has pushed through, and then the crazy part, just like how, Joe Rogan was like, how bad did you feel? And he was like, man, okay, imagine your worst headache that you've ever had. Times 10, no, times 1,000. He said to a point to where, he's telling his wife, like, everything's going to be okay. I'll be home soon. But then he says he having a different conversation with his parents. And his parents, he's telling him like, hey, this is really bad. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make it.
Oh my goodness. That's
and
horrible.
yeah, he's like, at a certain point, he says if he had a choice to, to end the entire thing, he would have. Because he said he was in that much pain. He said his body, his head, everything was throbbing in just pure pain, and he couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
So he just felt like what am I turning into?
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess it's different for some people, because some people say it's not that bad. Some people say it's horrible. So somebody said they had it and it wasn't that bad. Slim Thug.
Yeah. He had it. I know he released the album while I think he was home the whole entire time.
Oh, so he didn't have it?
No, he did have it.
Oh, okay.
But I think he isolated it at home. He didn't have to go to the hospital.
Oh,
some people have to. There's like levels to it.
Right.
Did you have to go to the hospital? Did you have to be under ventilator? Like maybe like how bad your fever got.
Yeah.
But there's all these symptoms now.
Man.
So he said, he's finally here to, kind of talk about it and say what he went through. But it was kind of enlightening to me because I'm like, man, just to think, like, even on there, it was hard for him to like even talk about it.
Right.
What I mean? Because he's getting all emotional. Because you start to think a little bit sometimes, like maybe they just
exaggerating a little bit.
Yeah, it's like sometimes like a little conspiracy gets into it, because you really want to ask questions because you want to know, are there any holes in the story? What happened and all that. And he's talking about like it was tragic for him, whereas with other people it's nothing at all.
Right.
So I guess it is. I know that the cases have gone up since we kind of been going back and reopening.
Right.
And everyone's like, are we, is it something that we should not open yet or whatever? But
I feel like people just being careless. I went to Walmart today, which I really did not want to go, but there was
because of the whole thing is why you didn't want to go?
Yeah, and it was so many people. First, it was hard for me to find parking. That was like a telltale sign right there. I shouldn't even go in. But I just needed something, and I just knew I was going to be in and out. And there were people who worked at Walmart. They were standing outside. I guess, I don't know if they were counting.
Same thing. At Sam's.
Okay. They were maybe counting to see how many people were in the store, or if they were making sure everybody had on a mask. But when I was inside of Walmart, a lot of the people didn't have on masks, and nobody was social distancing. Like I'm at the aisle, I'm trying to grab something, people like walking by, like, excuse me. And they like standing behind me.
With no mask?
Yeah, no mask. I mean, and people who did have a mask on were in social distancing. So I was just like, what is happening?
But see, you know what I'm on? I'm on where I'm in no rush when it comes to testing what is out. So, I'll take a little discomfort.
Yeah.
For I'll say a couple weeks to maybe even a couple of months for me to have peace of mind.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because honestly, where do you get your information from really at the end of the day? Second, a mask may or may not protect you, but it is an extra layer
Right. Exactly.
of what you could avoid. Because no one really has point blank proof unless it's themselves who got sick.
Right.
And if it was the case where, remember not swine flu, what's one with the mosquitoes?
Oh, West Nile.
West Nile? Someone just got hit with West Nile.
Really?
Like in Florida.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So we got to worry about that again?
Yeah, so people worry about, so, you have West Nile that when you hear about it, I'm not going to be like, I don't care about these mosquitoes. That's not going to be my attitude.
See, my coworker had West Nile.
Yeah, do you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So what happened to her? It was really bad, right?
It was really bad. Like, she was in the hospital for, I think, a month. Mm-hmm. She had to learn how to walk all over again. And then she's gonna kill me. I think she's Korean. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry saying I can't remember, but she speaks English and Korean, and when she was in the hospital, the nurses were like talking to her, trying to get her to say her name and stuff, and for some reason she just forgot English.
Wow.
Yeah, she couldn't walk.
She's not Cambodian or anything, is it?
No.
Oh, okay, I think about
she's Korean.
A C sound.
I don't want to get it confused. I think so, but she forgot. Like English, she had to relearn that all over again. She had to learn how to walk. And the doctors were telling her parents that she wasn't going to survive. And she, obviously she's here. But, I never met anybody with West Nile but her. She told me. I was like, girl.
Yeah, I know. And this guy that we have a contract with car washes, he said his grandfather had West Nile.
Wow.
And...
Did he pass away or he survived?
Oh, he survived, but I think he's in a wheelchair.
See?
Because of it.
That's crazy.
So you hear about stuff like that,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And I think he definitely got it from a mosquito. Same thing probably with your...
Yeah, she did. I think she went like on a walk or something.
A hike or something.
Yeah, she went... I forgot the story. She told me this maybe about a year ago, but she was outdoors when she got bit by the mosquito.
Yeah, and see, the likelihood of getting being chosen as the one to go through it is very unlikely.
I'm not trying to be
chosen. Yeah, who wants to even get within the crosshairs,
Not me. I'm not trying to get chosen. None of that.
Yeah, I feel like it's an interesting. This is interesting times. I don't even call it interesting because it's not interesting. That's one thing.
Anymore.
Yeah, at first it was cool, right? Mm-hmm. Man, I don't know. I'm going through all type of ups and downs with how I feel about this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like I told you, it's like, what do you trust? What do you listen to? Then you block all of it out because you don't watch TV.
No, I haven't watched TV in about a week. So I missed my Real Housewives, the reunion, which hopefully I'll catch a rerun. Mm-hmm. But then I'm not on social media, and that's usually where we get a lot of the real news, fake news. Mm-hmm. I have Yahoo News, but I don't even read the articles because most of it is about the virus. So I have no idea what's happening.
And very little things are happening to you like they used to?
Yeah,
with customers and co-workers and stuff just to hear about what's going on. No one's really sharing anything crazy.
Yeah, because we all have the mask on, so we can't even get that close to each other. So it's like we barely even talk to each other.
How long would you be okay with this continuing?
Not long.
So let's say it happened.
I'm already over it.
For real?
Yeah.
So if it was another month, you'd be like,
I couldn't do it.
Okay, let's say it was to the end of the year.
No.
What would you do?
I don't know.
You have to know. You have to know. No mask or no nothing.
Let's just retire. We can't just retire.
Retire?
Yeah, let's just buy a van, one of those big old huge vans, and let's just travel the world. And we could just sleep in the van. We could turn it into one of those little mini homes.
I love the idea.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm really serious. I love the idea though, as far as with the van.
I'm serious.
Watch us do this podcast from
I know,
the back
right?
of the van with our family in the back screaming.
Oh man, I would love that. We go live in a desert or something.
Yeah,
the rainforest. I don't know.
That's something. Those cargo vans, not cargo vans, they're like travel vans.
No, you're talking about the an RV?
Like an RV with a ladder on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you want one of those?
Yeah.
With a little shower in there.
Yeah. Well, does it have showers in there? I would love that too.
I think they do. I don't know. They have bathrooms. Yeah, they should have a little small shower in there.
Watch when we go broke after
well, we don't have to pay no mortgage.
That's true. Just gas is cheap right now.
Gas is cheap.
Man, you know about the situation with is it let me make sure. Ahmaud, you know what I'm talking about? Ahmaud Arbery?
Yeah, you told me a little bit about it. See, I haven't been even paying attention to, anything on social media. So
Well, I need to figure out a little bit more about that story, but
Mm-hmm.
apparently, where's your phone?
Here you go.
Look at what city that happened in.
How do you spell his name?
Ahmaud.
Shooting of Ahmaud Arbery.
Yeah. And what city that happened in? Because
Brunswick, Georgia.
yeah, so basically, are you familiar with a little bit of the story? So let me just
Well, you told me a little bit, but yeah, just kind of update me on everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently, Ahmad is a person who just goes out and jogs all the time, and I guess in this neighborhood that he jogs in, which I think is in his neighborhood as well.
Okay.
They're doing like construction homes, and I guess they've been having like burglaries. I'm not really sure if you call it not burglaries. Like what's that when you go
home invasions or whatever?
Maybe something like that.
Robbery,
trespassing.
Oh, okay.
On some of these construction homes. So, one day
I see. They're like vacant homes.
Yeah, they're vacant. Yeah, they're vacant homes being built.
Yeah.
So apparently he comes out of a house.
Okay.
One of those empty, under construction homes, and he's running. But see, there's a video that came out of this.
Okay.
And the guy who's like filming, him running is actually the first guy who's chasing him.
Okay.
And then another neighbor wanted to join along. The guy, the McMichaels.
So wait, they just see him coming from. Well, they just see him running.
Yeah, they see him running. They see him kind of run out of one of the vacant homes. Is basically what they're saying.
Okay.
And so he's running down the street, and they, the guy who's filming is filming them trying to like stop him, and they keep trying to tell him stop. The McMichaels, the father and son, and one of the father is an actual former, policeman.
Okay.
So they're trying to kind of like pull him off the side of the road, and he just keeps running, keeps dodging them, keeps running. And then finally they ran, they drive way up, and then they kind of stop, open the doors, kind of like in a
movie.
Yeah, kind of like trapping him, And then so the guy who's filming is behind him, closing in, and then ahead of him is the truck, that that's trying to stop him, So then what ends up happening is that they get into a struggle, because they're trying to stop him and he doesn't want to stop and he wants to keep going. And then they end up shooting him 3 times. One time in the left shoulder, another time like that grazed the wrist, and the third time in the chest.
Wow. At close range?
At close range, yeah.
Wow.
And this was a shotgun, and basically, he was trying to fight at every moment. Then he tried to run away, and then he just collapsed. You see him collapse on the ground.
Oh, this is all being filmed. You did.
It's all filmed, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So but see, the film wasn't released until a certain amount, a certain amount of time, and even this story didn't even get out because of the whole coronavirus situation.
Yeah.
This happened in February, and it's so.
We're in May.
Yeah, we're in May, so you're looking at 3 months.
Wow.
Where the people who committed, this crime, were just at home.
That's insane.
Yeah, and you hear about like those type of stories, and a guy's just jogging, and now we don't know the entire story.
Right.
But basically what the defense is that McMichaels, the people who shot the unarmed, black guy, Ahmaud, what their defense was is that they're doing a citizen's arrest, and in that county, or at least in that state, that you're able to do a citizen's arrest if there's a crime that has been committed, or a potential crime that must have been committed, or something like that, right?
But a citizen's arrest includes killing someone?
See, that's where it gets sticky. Okay. Because you remember the Trayvon Martin? Mm-hmm. Okay. It was where he was being followed, right? That was the part where, everyone knew it was an issue. But the part where it became a misunderstanding is that when he started to come at Trayvon, Trayvon's now defending himself.
Right.
So now you're into, in essence, like a battle with somebody else. So now you're going to defend yourself.
Right, exactly.
So that's kind of the same thing that they're saying about this, is that, yeah, they're trying to stop him, trying to catch him, But at the moment that they approached him, you know, trying to get physical with him, he's trying to defend himself. But then now they're like, okay, now we're scared for our lives.
Ooh, don't make no sense.
You know what I mean? So it's almost like, yeah, we try to do our job as citizens, you know, trying to make this community a better place. They go after him, you know, trying to stop this guy. And when he doesn't want to stop, they're in essence saying that, oh, you know, we tried to, you know, apprehend him. And because he didn't, you know, because he resisted is the reason why, you know, we're in the position now because we're scared for our lives now. That's what their defense is.
But what were they trying to stop him from doing? Because they saw him come out of a house, nothing in his hand?
Yeah, nothing in his hand. And on top of that, you know, someone said that, you know, his clothing attire didn't show that he was out for a jog. It really doesn't matter. I guess they said that they saw someone on a camera, you know, stealing. Not stealing. I don't even know if it's stealing. I think it's just trespassing.
Yeah.
But then you think of all the times I've trespassed on things, and then you're thinking, okay, if you're gonna like, you know, trying to stop me from doing it, you're gonna kill me to stop me.
No, that's the weird part.
They could have, at the end of the day, they could have just let him go, and then just followed him wherever it was,
or just called the police while they're following him.
But then you could hear the police. Okay, when they made the 911 calls, you know, and you could hear it on the first 911 call where he's like, you know, we have a black guy, white shirt, who's coming out these homes. He's like, oh, yep, he's on the move right now. He's like you could hear the guy's on the move right now.
Yeah.
And then, like, they're following him, and then you hear the 911 call from the other, the McMichaels, the ones who actually shot him, and they're doing the same thing. It's like we're trying to stop this, you know, kid who's running, and it's like, what did he do? And then, you know, they're not really saying what he's doing, but then next you know, you kind of hear it's quiet, and you know, you hear struggling, and then you hear a gun go off, you know. But, you know, it's a little disturbing hearing that. You know, another situation that also happened recently too. This last week, a police officer was like looking for a suspect, came into the wrong home. But,
not this again.
Yeah, and shot blindly into like the house, like I guess into the rooms, whatever. They killed a woman, black woman, who was asleep in her bed.
Didn't this happen like a few months
in Fort
ago?
Worth, yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, and then see the woman it happened to in Fort Worth. You know what I'm talking about?
She was babysitting like her grandchild or something.
Her grandmother or something like that.
Yeah, it was something like a woman and a child.
Yeah.
At the house.
Yeah, a woman and a child, but then the neighbor called because he said the door was open.
Yeah.
And then the police got there. And then
instead of like saying, "Hey, it's the police,"
yeah,
they just went in and just started shooting.
Yeah, and then they end up killing her.
Yeah.
But see, I think her mother or grandmother that she was taking care of.
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't a child. You're right. Yeah.
Ended up dying too.
That's so horrible. It's like if there's been plenty of times we left our garage door open. And our neighbors, they'll call us, and if they can't get in touch with us, maybe they'll call the police and say, "Hey, can you go check on my neighbors?" I would hate for the police to just come in and just start shooting.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What is happening? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's a little wild that this is even something that's even happening right now because, I mean, you're thinking about a jog.
Right.
You know, even if it was where, you know, there's a situation or a crime that's happening in your area,
and you so-called fit the description.
Yeah. To me, I don't see how that qualifies you to pull them, try to do a citizen's arrest without any type of assistance from a police officer.
Right.
You know?
I mean,
the only time I think of it making sense is when someone's on the run, and you can see them running from the police.
Right. But even still, I mean,
I've seen it. I've seen the videos where someone like steals in a mall and they're running and then somebody kicks their foot out and the robber trips.
Well, I saw a video a couple of months ago. This guy was, he was a young guy. He stole like a pizza from a store or whatever. And the police officers, they were like chasing him. They were on foot chasing him. And then all of a sudden you just see him just pull his gun out and just start shooting him, and he killed him. I'm like, over a pizza? Really? Like, this kid could have been homeless. He could have, just hungry. If you're stealing food, obviously you don't have money to buy food. Why would you kill someone kill a kid because they're stealing food.
I feel the logic behind it is these people are stressed and they don't, you know what I mean? Like, think about it. When you're in a power position and someone disobeys,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It really puts you in a position where you feel powerless and you need to get your power back.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So if someone's over here, in essence, disrespecting your authority,
yeah,
and they're running or doing whatever it is, you know, if you feel like no one's looking,
yeah,
the only way you can say, "Let me show him," is to actually shoot him.
and people are looking. Like if it's not people, there's cameras. Like you can't get away with, and you wear a camera on your
But see, that's part of the whole mystique behind it. You know, sometimes they have, you know, the camera, but a lot of it's how did the officer feel?
Right.
You know, what was the officer going through?
Did he feel threatened? I mean, I don't know. If someone's running away from you, why are you pulling your gun out to shoot them?
I know.
To kill them, though.
You know, but you know, I think it's just, I told you, it's like the stress of your authority being disrespected to say like, okay, we need to, I'm not as fast as that person. You know, like maybe people are looking at you. You know, there's all type of pressure situations that you're put in when you have to make a decision. And then, you know, it's that one officer who's just not, you know what I mean?
Okay, well, I wanted to say this, but then I was like, I don't want to offend anyone who is an officer or knows, you know, officers. But I have friends who are officers, and there's a few of them, majority of them, like, were picked on in middle school and high school.
Yeah.
So I feel like if anybody was to make that type of mistake about, like, you know, the authority or someone's not listening to them or something, I feel like it would be those police officers.
Yeah, but it's a certain, we call it type of like
abusing
profile.
their power. Oh, yeah, that too.
It's a certain profile of the type of person that signs up to be a police officer. Because some people do it, you know,
to protect.
Yeah, and then some people do it because they need power. Exactly. So it's like, well, it's just the same thing with guns. Some people buy guns to protect themselves, and some people buy guns to intimidate others.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And if you have something, you know, whether it be your career or whether it be a tool that can intimidate people, that is a source of power. So I feel like the situation with the whole, you know, with the guy running with the pizza, he's intimidated. Something's happening where he doesn't have the control he thought he's going to have.
Right.
And then now he wants to like show that guy, you know?
It's so horrible because you just, not only did you kill this innocent, well, I'm not gonna say innocent because he did steal, but not only did you kill him, but it's like you didn't think about his family in that moment. You didn't think about your family, because I'm sure your family probably feels some type of way about you killing somebody, you know, like I don't know, it's just weird to me. Like,
you never really hear after the fact, you know. You hear about, you know, like I think Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman, you hear about him in the antics, like as far as all the you know, circus stuff he does,
right? Exactly.
But you don't hear about like, how does Zimmerman's family feel about what Zimmerman did?
Right.
And even there was a Facebook group, you know, that was like had over 70,000 people for the McMichaels, you know, calling them heroes and, you know, like a fund to like help them from that shooting, you know, and saying that in essence they were victims, you know, and they were trying to protect their community, and this is what they get for there's two different lenses. You see what I'm saying?
First of all, people just need to mind their business. If you see somebody running, like that don't have nothing to do with you. Even if they're coming out of an empty home and they have nothing in their hand, what did they steal? Some bricks? Like, what did they steal? You know, and it's not your job to kill someone. It's not your job to shoot someone. Like,
see, I don't know if they probably came into it trying to kill somebody, but I do know that they were trying to, you know, like show force. You know what I mean? They came out with like shotguns with a truck, following this guy.
See,
and in my head, I would not stop with them. That just doesn't sound like anything I'll stop for. And it's kind of like what were they thinking was going to happen? And in their head, they thought, we got these guns, we got this truck, he's going to comply. We're finally going to clean up this neighborhood, and everyone's going to call us heroes.
They shot him 3 times. They could have just shot him. You said they shot him what? In the shoulder, in the wrist, and
they grazed his wrist and then the chest.
That's crazy. So they were trying to kill him. Yeah. I mean, you only have to shoot a person one time to get them to stop doing what they're doing.
Yeah, well, that was
3 times?
That was murder. I mean, that you're thinking is, Man, it's just so sad.
See, I always think like when police officers draw their gun, I'm like, why they just can't shoot them in the leg? Like y'all aim is that bad to where y'all shoot them in the back of the head?
Someone asked that question, and the officer got really upset with how simple. Because think about it, Bly. They're asked that question probably all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So when they hear it, they're like, amateurs thinking that in a moment of crisis, you just could point at someone's leg. You know,
you could point at their butt.
No, what they're saying is, well, not they, but I guess protocol is, you know, the part of the body has the most mass to bring the person down. So, you know, if you're gonna shoot, you're gonna shoot to kill.
That's crazy to me. If you shoot somebody in the butt, they ain't running.
But think about it.
And they butt pretty wide.
Think about that.
You know, you ain't aiming for like a little skinny leg. You aiming for the butt meat.
Yeah.
You trying to get the butt meat.
So you're telling me, in a moment of crisis, and something's happening right now, and you have a gun on you, that you should pull out and then assess where on the body.
No, if somebody breaks into the house, I'm aiming to kill.
Yeah.
But if you stole a pizza from a grocery store and you running away,
you're having someone assess whether that person has a pizza or.
But they be knowing.
How?
So the police, they get the call from the owner of the grocery store. Someone just came in here and stole a box of pizza. Okay, cool, I'm on it. Then they go and they chasing after the kid on foot, and then they just shoot him.
I know that. Okay, you're completely right. With they should understand the level of, I would say not crime, the level of situation that they're in.
Right.
If it's a life or death situation, then I could see you taking life or death, making life or death decisions. But if it's a non-life threatening situation, your decision making should reflect that. Because if someone's stealing a box of pizza, you should come in as a petty theft.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be ready to start popping, guns. But what do you think about when cars are just
following them?
No, high speed chases.
Oh, see, I feel like you should shoot at the tire, which I think they do anyway. But
I think they
they end up dying. Oh yeah, they put the thing on the ground so that
Was one guy they're saying
car flips and everything too.
Yeah, it's really dangerous.
Yeah.
But this one guy got pulled over. I guess he just graduated. I think it was, but I don't have too much information on it. But basically, he was on a high speed chase, stolen car. But he went to the military. He was in the military, and he was doing all this from like Facebook Live.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then the police pulled him over. And no, it pulled him over. He kind of runs off the side, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going, folks. I'm going." He's like running. All of a sudden, and then you see him fall.
Oh my goodness!
And then the Facebook Live is still going.
Oh God!
And then you hear the police walk up on him and say, "Oh man, he gonna need a closed casket," and start laughing.
Are you serious? See what I'm saying? They just killing people like they just animals.
Yeah, and they're saying why the split argument on that one is how is it that you could do that towards a person who has their back to you. You know what I mean? And the second one is he stole a car, he's running, he's doing all this, if he didn't want something bad to happen, that he could have just stood where he was and complied.
True, that's very true. But damn, to kill someone for stealing a car, that
it doesn't add up.
No. I mean, I could see if you murdered someone and then the police officer is trying to kill you.
Same thing they said. Like, you're on a high speed chase, where you're endangering people's lives.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, I don't think anyone should kill anyone. Murder is murder. Like, no one is in charge of ending someone else's life. But it's just sad that it was all, videotape too. If it's on Facebook Live, so that means everybody's watching it.
Everyone's watching it and they're commenting as it's happening too. Like, bro,
oh my God,
and then someone's typing in like, bro, I hear them laughing, and so
I cannot.
I know. So these certain tracks. But there is a split on that one, just because they feel like he should have been more accountable.
Yeah.
Yet the police should be more accountable, and we always scream like,
F the police.
No, all
that crazy stuff.
Yeah, whatever they say when it comes to like supporting somebody, like they want riots to happen.
Yeah,
but they're saying, but okay, well, we need to make sure that we follow the laws too.
Right.
Which there is a there's a point to that, you know what I mean, as far as following the laws. But then when there is a situation that's non-life threatening, I don't think you should take,
right,
you know, like those type of actions.
Yeah, I agree. But I will say, if somebody kicked this door down,
yeah, but that's
you
different.
Ain't coming out alive. I'm just saying.
You know, that brings us to a word of the day. It's a good word.
What's that?
Maleficent.
What?
Maleficent.
Well, there's a movie called Maleficent, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah, with Angelina
Jolie. I didn't watch it yet. I heard it was good. I mean, not yet because it's an old movie. But okay, anyway. What's the word?
So Maleficent is like to do evil.
I think she was evil.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So it kind of reminds you of like, you know, it's kind of like, I think the cousin word or the root word is from like malicious, doing something malicious.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
You know what I mean? So you're maleficent in your actions. You know,
I'm
like
gonna start using that.
That's a good one, right?
Yeah, it is a good one.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of the evil that's being done. Mm-hmm. You know, in these little particular situations.
Right.
You know what I mean? That are hard, and especially hard now because, you know, even in Georgia, they won't even be able to get like a court case until like late July.
Everything's closed.
Yeah, because everything's closed right now. You know?
Do you feel like the quarantine that's happening, do you feel like it's making people crazy and making people do decisions that they would normally do?
Yes.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think, okay, this is why I say it's very strange times. Mm-hmm. It's because we have literally, okay, you're being controlled while you're also resisting.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because everyone's in constant resistance of what's going on because they're uncomfortable.
Right.
But yet you know that you're contributing towards safer ways by washing your hands, wearing a mask, distancing yourself from people, but you don't like it.
Yeah.
But yet this is your life, which is something that really no one, I don't think anyone plays with. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, when you're talking about your life, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want my quality of life to go down. It's almost like telling somebody you got to eat, you know, like frozen foods for the rest of your life. You're like, no. You know what I mean? Like, I've been, you know, eating home cooked meals. I've been eating restaurant food. I've been, you know, and then you tell them you got to eat frozen meals. After a while, you're like, I can't do this no more.
Exactly.
But it's like, bro, it's just frozen foods. You're still getting your food, and it's like, but it's not. It's not what I like. It's not the
same. Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's not for my lifestyle. It's not for anything like that. So I feel like people are there, and people are trying to be optimistic, you know, during this whole time. But I feel like that is, you know, because it's so new territory, I feel like it is making people a little bit like crazy.
Yeah, no, for me, like my first day back at work, well, when we opened to the public, I remember calling you on my way home. I was extremely frustrated. I was just like overwhelmed. I was annoyed. I was just like, I got this mask on. I got these gloves on. And it was just too much. You know, it's like I got to remember to keep my distance from people. I have to remind them to keep their mask on. I got to remind myself to go wash my hands. You know, like every hour you got to wash your hands. It's just a lot that you're doing. And it's just like, now this is like the new norm, you know?
Yeah. And that's the part where I have to be a little bit more empathetic because, you know, now that I know that, you know, my guys don't need me as much.
Yeah.
You know, because basically these last almost 2 months. Yeah, I barely needed to manage them at all.
I know.
Right? So you're looking at like very hands off. So when I do go out, at least recently, and I have to wear the mask and, you know, just kind of be mindful and aware. It's exhausting.
It is.
It's tiring. And then you get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm upset and it's a little bit frustrating for me. And I've only been doing this for less than an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
These are people who have to do this every day. So I started thinking about the doctors and the nurses and the people who are on, like, you know, the front line. I'm like, if they're doing this every day, I'm talking about strapping down.
Every day, all day.
Every day. You know, you see those lines that they have on their face
from wearing the mask.
Wearing the mask. It's like, if it was at that level,
I know.
You got to think how much, you know, how much pressure is being put on you.
Or maybe I should think about that to remind myself, like, you need to chill out because there's other people out there who,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean, who got it worse.
Yeah.
Like, I hate wearing the mask just for 8-9 hours a day. They got to wear it for, you know, however long they in the hospital, 15 hours, 16 hour shifts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I need to stop complaining.
So then maybe it's an empathy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
empathy
because I started thinking of like,
and a reality check.
Oh, I gave it to you?
You gave it to me.
That wasn't on purpose.
I receive it. No, because sometimes you be needing that. I know for sure I need it because I could be, I complain and I be sounding spoiled sometimes, but other people have it worse. So I have to like remind myself, like, blah, you need to chill.
But it comes from a place of privilege to say, I don't like this,
Right.
Because when you have no choice but to deal with what you're dealing with, then it becomes a different reality. So I feel like ours is just a temporary reality because I know no one wants to do this forever.
I know. I hope not. But I mean,
I thought about some good ideas.
Are still rising. So
yeah, well, just so much stuff we could talk about too. There's one last thing. People are just one guy who's international, like musician. He's trying to do a tour in drive-in theaters.
Oh, we have one.
Yeah,
like an hour out, right?
Yeah. So he's trying to do his tour where they use the jumbo screen or whatever, have everyone in their cars, up to 4 people per vehicle.
And you can turn the radio station?
Yeah, I think turn the radio station and then you can see it. But then you can also say cool. That's kind of cool, right?
Yeah. Why haven't we been to the drive-through?
I know. I said I want to take you there.
No, but I mean, like during this whole quarantine, that would have been great to take the boys.
I know. And
is it even open?
I think it is open for sure.
Man.
See, I said I was going to take us there, but I'm like, okay, what I'm hearing, which again I shouldn't go off of what I hear, is that it's so busy.
Oh, I'm sure people don't have anything to do. That's like the perfect thing to do because you don't have to get out your car.
You don't have to get your car.
No, that's like the Fossil Rim I told you about. It's like that drive-through safari that I want to take us to. I'm hoping this weekend, but I think it may rain. But yeah, it's like they just opened the first week of May, which I don't know why they closed in the first place. But you just stay in your own vehicle. You drive through. It's like maybe like a 2-hour long safari, and you can like feed the animals from the car and stuff like that. So
but the animals could get coronavirus too. So
well, I will hope my little baby giraffes don't get coronavirus.
Yeah, and so that's a unique idea of a twist of like how to throw events. And if you think about it, there are some huge parking lots. I actually thought of a switch that's going to happen.
What's that?
If this goes on long enough, large buildings like theaters and things like that will be used more for performances that do not require a crowd, but that require like a film, to be filmed, right? And that places that were large pieces of land will now turn into how like they're doing restaurants where it's more about your view. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's more about your experience.
Right.
Than it is about everyone being in a single group. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I know places in France are doing it where it's like table for one. So something called table for one, and they have a table for one in this huge, beautiful field, and you can see like the cherry blossoms, starting to grow. The cherry trees are starting to go. So it's like you're very like in tune with nature. You have a view that's like so beautiful. So you're there, and they farm the table. They put everything on your plate, and you're just eating, just enjoying the view and the wind and all that. I'm like, that's great, right?
I do remember because when we went to Paris for like a month, and I do remember that every little restaurant we went to, it was like most of the seating was outside. Yeah. And I mean, the weather was perfect, so why not,
Man, something like that's a great experience.
Yeah, I love that. And then usually when we go out to eat, if it has a patio, I'm like, let's sit outside. I don't care how hot it is.
Let's sit outside. Cause you've always been super nature.
I know, I am. And it's funny because even today I was looking at different little tubing places we can go to that just opened up. So
there's so much.
I know.
See, right now it's about getting creative.
Yeah, you have to, because otherwise you'll be stuck inside watching Netflix, and who wants to do that all day every day?
I'm super over that.
Well, I haven't turned on the TV in about a week, so actually I put on Netflix for the boys, but not for me.
So you know how long, like we're not TV watchers.
Yeah, we haven't been. No.
Yeah, so to just sit and just watch movie after movie after movie or show after show.
I can't do it.
Yeah, it's not something that's not part of my lifestyle at all. It's not part of yours. So I feel like I don't want to get used to that. Right. I don't want to get used to any of this. You know what I mean? And that's even harder because now everything I learn, it's almost like you can't even apply it. You know what I mean? Because things are so weird. You learn something new, then you got to kind of wait before you apply it. Then you're going to forget whatever it is. So you have to really focus on home.
Right.
Focus on what you can do at home while all this confusion is happening. You know.
I know. Yeah, it's a lot going on, but it is what it is. We just gotta, get with the times, I guess.
Yeah, we'll make it through, and we'll come out this so much stronger because
I hope so. Look, I'm being hopeful.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you. Is there anything else you want to share? Yeah.
I think that's it for today.
Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah.
Joining us.
This is fun.
Great conversation. And we'll see y'all later.
Peace.
And through this, remember and never forget how dope you are.